Hi everyone, this is Whitney Dowds from EMAS Sports. Back to Beyond the Bases, the official sports podcast of EMAS Sports, where we tell unique stories and learn more about the coaches and players that make up the baseball leagues around the greater Boston area. This week's episode features Johnny Hayes, who recently earned MVP honors in the Cape Cod Classic. Excuse me. So welcome, Johnny, to EMAS Sports.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, let's get right into it. So you, as I just mentioned, won MVP honors in the Cape Cod Classic. So what do you feel like was your defining moment in that classic, and what helped you win MVP honors?
Thanks. No, I mean, I guess I've always looked at something like that as a team award. Um, so I guess just consistency, relying on my teammates to really reinforce my play as well as their own. I don't think there's any way that you win an MVP unless, your teammates help put you in a position to win.
Okay, fair enough. And so just for those who weren't there, which team were you playing on, and how did you guys kind of go about winning the tournament? Because you had to obviously play multiple games, so just kind of describe that experience a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. We were on the Boston Townies in the 45 division. Robbie Stevenson's run that team for years. He really does a great job in supporting us, making sure that we have the right ingredients to be there in the final day. We were a really good hitting club. A bunch of different names like Darwin Hernandez, Dr. Roche on that team. Um, you know, um, we just had top to bottom. We were able to hit good pitching. Had good matchups of our own. Certainly on our staff, guys like John Tenney in the finals. Bobby Austin, who really came up big for us in the semis. I think we just had a lot of depth, just the ability to be able to do different things with multiple positions.
And then, of course, on a personal level, last year you were inducted into the Hall of Fame for the BMBL, as well as winning Manager of the Year in the 38 plus division for the Bulls. So, what was your reaction to that? And this is kind of your chance to have a acceptance speech, even though
Ah,
it's almost a year later. Just
right.
what was your reaction to doing that? Because obviously those are two very big honors, and I'm sure that meant a lot to you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I mean, the manager of the year is definitely a team award, just because um, if you run a good men's league team, it kind of runs itself because you're lucky to have the right personalities, as well as guys that have great baseball IQ. That was definitely an honor, but um, I don't do it unless my team's good, obviously. So that support was huge. And then, I mean, the Hall of Fame, obviously, it's a huge honor. I was really, really honored to get that, and um, there's a lot of guys in that circle that obviously you look at their numbers, and to be to be mentioned in the same breath as those guys is pretty special. I think it's just, you work at the game, you pick up a lot of things from people that you respect in the game and people that have been around you. And you get a lot of help along the way to make your game better. It's certainly an honor, but you don't do it unless you have the right people around you.
Well, just kind of on an individual standpoint for you, you've driven in 353 runs over the course of your career, 715 hits, at least so far. And so I just wanted to kind of understand your approach at the plate with all the runs and hits that you've had, and how that affects your team. So if you want to just describe that for anyone watching who maybe hasn't seen you play.
Yeah, no, I think it depends on the role, like on the 38s team, until recently. I've been a little bit more at the top of the lineup, but I mean, I'm 48 now, so bringing on younger guys as you try to do to stay competitive. I've dropped myself in the lineup, so I guess it depends on where you are on the lineup. Your approach as a leadoff hitter is going to be working counts, trying to get deep into counts, trying to see pitches. Um, and yeah, I mean that would be the same later in the count, but it's also going to depend on who you're seeing if they're around the strike zone. I mean, as a hitter, I just try to stay short to the baseball. Make sure that I can put the ball in play, and good things happen when you put the ball in play. So.
Well, and with all those stats that you had, and obviously the honors you've had, I'm wondering if you have a favorite pregame routine or meal that you include, and how does that, affect you game day?
Yeah, so I don't like to eat a lot before a game. I mean, maybe a protein bar, and that's about it. Now, I'll eat after the game. I eat a lot of late night meals over the years. Um, I mean, in terms of preparation, just being at the park as early as I can, at least an hour before game. Um, just try to get as stretched out as I can. If there's something in my game that I really need to work on, then I try to accomplish it then. And then just making sure that you're locked in and ready to go. I've never been a person who is able to get down to the park less than a half an hour before the game and really feel like I'm ready to play in the first inning. Because when I do that, I feel like I'm ready to play in the third or the fourth. So the earlier the better for me has always been the case.
Talking about the Bombers for a second, you guys opened up postseason play with a 3-2 win over the Expos, and now are one win away from advancing. So, talking or going back to that game, I think it was yesterday, right?
Hmm.
Where you guys played. So, talking about that 3-2 win over the Expos, were you guys able to accomplish it? And then, what do you guys need to do next to close out the series and then move on to the next round?
Yeah, so I mean, Johnny Matos, was on the bump, and I mean, he gave us 9 innings as good as anybody else is going to give us. Just kept pounding the zone, kept challenging hitters. Was able to get guys to ground out, to pop up, to give us a chance to make defensive plays, which is what you really want. You want a guy to trust his defense. And then he made some huge, huge pitches when he had to. Um, and then, guys in the lineup like Juan Parra had a huge leadoff double in the 10th. Dan Shaw was thrown against us. He threw the distance, and he's really, really good. Throws the ball hard. He's got a great breaking ball. Can spot up, and he was around the plate all night. So it was just a matter of outlasting that team. They had a good lineup, top to bottom. They certainly got guys over there that can mash, and we just had to make plays, and we were lucky enough to come out on top at the end.
And then, of course, we've had members of the Little Angels on previous episodes of the
Uh-huh.
Beyond the Bases, and obviously them being the defending champs, they're the team that you guys have to go through too. So, what's the key when you guys eventually have that matchup with them to be able to dethrone them and hopefully put yourselves in a position to win a championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just having, against them, I mean, they have a few good arms. I mean, Brock Riley, obviously being their ace, but it's about having good at bats, um, and about trying to, um, see pitches, um, when you have a chance and an opportunity to really drive someone in or to clutch up. I mean, you have no choice. You got to do it in those situations, especially against guys that are going to pound the zone, that are going to try to throw the ball by you and are capable of doing that. And then, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're able to do that, it's always going to come down to defense. You got to play defense. Can't make mental mistakes, can't make big errors. And I mean, errors are part of the game, but you're not going to win if you continue to make them and give teams extra outs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that's something they were talking about as well as like if you, when it comes to postseason play, not giving another team an extra at bat or an extra out or
Uh-huh.
extra opportunity to score, especially when you have high power offenses like you guys or the Angels. And so that's something I definitely heard from them as well. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if we switch over to the 38 plus division, you guys, or you play for the Bulls, who are currently the second seed, 14-3 record, and have scored the most runs in the division as well. And you guys play the Metro Red Sox tonight to open postseason play after that rain delay that happened last week.
Yeah.
So, what's
Yeah.
your plan of attack to win that series? And how do you kind of put that rain delay behind you and just focus on what's at stake.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, we certainly have a lot of guys that play in both 28s and 38s. So it would have been nice to start the series, but we'll certainly take the day of rest, and just try to get even healthier. I think first of all, that's what it is. Like when you bounce between the leagues, I mean, it's hard to do night after night after night, especially trying to play at a playoff level, and trying to up your game. Um, everybody's got, I mean, especially when we're all getting up in age, everybody's got a tweak here and a tweak there, and you just try to manage it the best way you can. As far as what we're going to do tonight, I think just staying with the same formula. We're going to ride James Crampton, who's our number one, and have good at bats. I'm sure they'll come out with maybe Sammy Steed, who fastball changeup, real good breaking ball. I mean, he's playoff tested. He's a real good pitcher. So we're just going to have good at bats and take advantage of the situations that they give us. Yeah, we're a good hitting team, but we have to have a approach, obviously. Against per guy, figure out what his strengths are and trying to attack his weaknesses.
And of course, the Boston Cardinals won the championship last year. So, how when you might eventually have to face them as well, what's the plan of attack there? And is there a specific player on your team that could be a key to helping you guys win the championship that maybe you haven't talked about yet, or just should be highlighted because they've done so well all season?
Yeah, so I mean, not getting too far ahead of myself, but I mean, in general, I mean the Cardinals are the Cardinals. We know a lot of their guys, they know a lot of our guys. We've had some good games this year. They've gotten the best of us twice this year. Um, it's the same thing. I mean, they've got a really good staff, and we're going to have to take advantage of situations when they come up. Those guys like Yuki and Medina, just to name a few, and Sandy, who all those guys pound the zone. All those guys have secondary pitches that are real good. We got one power in Teddy Juba this year who've really lifted our lineup and expanded our lineup. Like I said, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, we got Metro tonight, and we're going to take it one game at a time. But when it comes to that point, I think that hopefully we're in the conversation and we're in the ring with them in the end. And if we are, then we'll just have to attack them pitch by pitch and try to wear those guys down.
And just to reflect back a little bit, you've won four championships yourself, or been on four championship teams, two in the 28 plus, two in the 38 plus. Do you have a favorite memory from that? Looking back, and obviously, this year, you never know what can happen. And one thing I've learned in this league is that any team is capable of winning at any time. But just to kind of look back on your own championship memories, what's your favorite and why?
Yeah, I think 2014 was the Braintree Braves. It was kind of a few guys merged from different teams that had one team that had folded, Situate had folded. Braintree, Franz Strassman was running Braintree, and a few of us guys that were looking to go from another team. We're looking to potentially put a team together, and Franz was like, "Well, I don't want to run this anymore. Why don't you run it?" So that's what we end up doing. And, we were a good team and we were a 500 team about, I'd say mid-July. And then we just kind of caught fire. And I think we won 11 out of 12, including the playoffs to win it. So it was a little bit of lightning in a bottle. Stevie Houston, who a lot of guys know is a total bulldog. He was huge for us in that playoffs. Former minor league pitcher. Guys know him as a guy who used to be able to throw. If you had a double header 7-7, he'd throw both ends of it and win. I mean, it was crazy what he'd be able to do, and he was a huge help in that. But it was definitely like guys that I've continued to play with for a long time, and that was really the start of us really being in together a solid club. And like I said, it was unexpected, and it was a great run we had.
And did you have a favorite, or do you have a mentor or someone that you kind of look up to, either player or coach, that you model your game after?
Um, so I think that a good friend of mine, Steve Busby, who recently, retired, if you will, from the amateur baseball. Him and I have known each other a long time. He's somebody who really, really helped me up my game as I get older, and somebody who I trust. Today, I mean, the teammates I'm really fortunate to have. Um, I trust all of them, but like Dave Lightbody's helped me out a ton with certain little things. Teddy Juba, Wani Para, among others. I mean, there's plenty. Whether it be helping you tweak a certain thing you're doing with your game, or and I love unsolicited advice, especially from people I trust, because you're always learning something. But those are certainly guys that have helped me out big time in terms of keeping my game at a high level. And I mean, there's definitely others I haven't mentioned, but those are a few.
Okay, and then if just a fun little question to throw in here. If you had to pick one former or current MLB player to join your team this season, either the Cardinals or the Bombers, who would you pick and why?
I was always partial to Billy Miller on the 2004 Sox. I just love the way he played the game. Really, really gritty player. Um, and excellent infielder. Somebody like him, maybe Trot Nixon. I always like the dirt dog type players that'll just add a little edge to your lineup.
Gives you a little personality too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, and then last few questions. I love that answer because I'm a huge Red Sox fan
Yeah,
myself. So,
yeah.
yeah, and especially the '04 team is always going to be, one that is in
Oh,
a lot of
absolutely.
people's hearts. So,
Yeah,
makes sense.
absolutely.
Speaking of championships, so finish this sentence. The Boston Bombers will become champions because.
Um, because we have a ton of veteran experience. Um, you know, even when um even when we're up against it, it seems like we're never out of it. There's always just a ton of stick to itiveness. I always feel like we can play with anyone. So,
Okay, and then same question, but for the Bulls, why will they become champions?
um, well, I think our pitching staff's real good. I think we got a real good number one. Um, I think that like the Bombers, there's a ton of experience. Um, you know, the wild card and all these things is always health. But if we can stay healthy, I think we're right in the mix. Obviously, like I said, not getting too far ahead of myself, and the hypothetical questions are always ones that I don't know if I like to answer so much, but at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, if we're to be successful, we've got to play our best game all the time, and then like I said, taking one game at a time, even one inning, one pitch at a time, and just not getting too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah, it's fun. The hypothetical questions are always fun because
Yeah,
it's good seeing people's insight, and
yeah,
obviously nothing is guaranteed in this sport.
right.
We've seen
That's the
that
truth.
every year, and not
Uh-huh.
only and every level, honestly. So, but it is fun just seeing that,
Yeah,
and yeah. So I appreciate I appreciate you humoring
yeah,
me.
yeah. No
Um,
worries.
but okay, so final question because I want to make sure people watching have something to look forward to and stuff like that for not only this season but beyond. Why should people come watch Bombers games or Bulls games or any BMBL games? Because there's a lot of great stories, a lot of great content, and there's only so much I can cover. But definitely, I think people should go watch it. So definitely let everybody who's watching know why.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, I'm going to be always partial to Bombers and Bulls games, of course, but I think there's and I can speak for my teams. It's a high IQ level, a great bunch of guys. I see a great bunch of teammates, but you can see it out on the field and the way that we support each other. And then if you want to see good baseball, um, especially play a good playoff baseball, because it always ends up being decent baseball. I think those are the reasons you would want to come see it. And I mean, it's typically a quick game. The whole thing in baseball now is you see it at the big league level of, quickening the game up. It's a quick game. Um, and there's just nothing like playoff baseball.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that all the championship games that I've broadcasted, brings a different energy when there's a lot of people in the stands, and so
Hmm.
you never not want to have that because it brings
Hmm.
renewed energy and it can help boost you guys. I'm assuming as
Hmm.
well.
Absolutely. It's always good to have people supporting you. A lot of those times, obviously, it's going to be people and um, that are there to support you, and it's always real nice to have that. Whether it's people that are direct friends or relatives of yours, or people that are friends of people on the other team, etc. So, I mean, I've never done 100 innings, and I think it's a great cause, but I'm always too banged up to really participate in it, and just limping around. But I've always thought it's an excellent cause. I mean, obviously those, especially guys who were able to do the whole 100 innings. I'm not sure how they do it to this day, and I'm not sure I'm going to know. But yeah, I've gone away and done. I've done the tournaments, the Florida tournaments. I haven't done the World Series in Arizona yet, but I was invited for the Roy Hobbs, which plays at JetBlue and other places around there. I haven't decided on that yet. Like I said, one of those things. It's you fight in age, and you're fighting every little injury you have, and if you get to the championship round, you're playing well into early October. So it then creates issues where you're just not where you want to be. I mean, nobody's 100%. So, but those tournaments, they're a great experience. A lot of times, if you're lucky to get on a club that again has the common theme for me, and the common theme for a lot of the people I play with, is playing around guys that have a high baseball IQ, and playing around guys you like. Because I mean, at our age, why play anymore? You just go do something else that you enjoy, but that's why it's enjoyable. So the tournaments have a lot to do with that too. And if you can be around guys like that, it ends up being an awesome experience.